All right, hello. I'm kind of looking forward to this episode, number 21, and I've titled it Clean Room Saved My Life. And the reason why I'm looking forward to it is because it really pulls the curtain back on some parts of my life, which I enjoy just because I like being open like that. So I'm going to give you some context to the story of how a clean room saved my life. The story basically goes a little while back, I lost my job, and it put me in a really bad space because I built all these goals around that, all these connecting goals like personal goals, physical goals, financial goals, everything. And then when I lost that, it was like pulling on a string of a jump. It just all unraveled, and I found myself in a place where I never expected to be. And I took some time off, and I had really good intentions for sort of rebuilding my life. I had good intentions, but I had no plan. And it basically went all downhill. I remember I traveled away. I was thinking like, I'm going to train, I'm going to get online, I'm going to find all the solutions to everything I needed. I didn't do any of it. All that happened was I noticed progressively I started engaging in like one bad habit, and then the next day I would do that bad habit, but either add another one onto it or increase it. So what I was doing is like I play a little bit of a video game, and then the next day I play longer, next day I play longer, then I get bored, then I'd like buy something to drink, and then I'd be playing video games and drinking, and then that just became worse and worse, and it got to a point where I would literally wake up, have a shower, come to my laptop, pour myself a drink, and before I had breakfast, anything, I'm just drinking at my laptop from the morning. And I would drink all the way through until I got hungry, then I'd get something to eat, and then I'd come back, drink, and then pass out, and then rinse and repeat. Literally, that was that point in my life, right? And this went on for about 2 months, and it, like the whole journey, didn't start there, but it progressively got worse. And I remember one day I got up and I was going to start again, and I just felt nothing but complete disgust for where I was and what I was doing. And I knew that the only way I was going to change it is if I did it. No one's going, and if I didn't, it was only going to get worse. And I just remember allowing myself to feel this utter disgust over where I should have been at that point in my life before I lost my job and where I am now. And just how I'd progressively, just day by day, gotten slowly worse and slowly worse and slowly worse until this was my life. Like I felt like an absolute loser. And I'm not a loser, but I was. And so I allowed myself to feel the absolute disgust of what I'd become. And I just thought, I got to do something about this. And this is what I did. I had two glasses in the room, and they were both dirty, like as in they'd been used. And I thought, I just hated the look of them. And I thought, well, if I'm going to drink again, at least I've got to wash the glasses, right? Fucking, it's disgusting. So I washed the glasses. And then after I washed the glasses, I noticed the sink was dirty. So then I washed the sink. And then I came out, and where I was sitting with my laptop, it was stained from like spilt Coke and stuff. And so I moved my laptop, and then I cleaned the desk, and then I cleaned the laptop itself. It was like disgusting. And then I cleaned the desk, and then I saw some rubbish in the room. I tied up the rubbish, I put it in, I put it outside, and then so I looked at my bed and I thought, that's a mess. So I made my bed, and then I consolidated all my luggage, and all of a sudden I looked at my room and it was neat and tidy, right? But now I'm dirty, I'm disgusting, but my room's clean. So I thought, all right, have a shower. And so I went and had a shower, and brushed my teeth, came out, and I felt good. And I was like, all right, so I put some moisturizer on, had some water, I had a vitamin pill, and then I was like, well, now what? And of course, my first thought was like, uh, going back to a bad habit. But remember, I just reorganized all my luggage, and on top of my luggage was all my gym wear. And I thought, you know what? I really miss kickboxing. I really, really miss kickboxing. You know, I woke up, I'm sober, I'm clean, I'm ready. Let's keep this ball going. Let's keep going. All right. So I put on my gym gear. I went to training. I had a really good gym session. After training, I wanted to keep the ball rolling, so I stayed behind. I did some weights and conditioning. And then instead of like traveling home by taxi or something, I decided to run home, which is about a 6 kilometer run. And then I ran home, had a shower. I washed, because I didn't have a laundry, it was like in a hotel room. I washed my clothes in the shower with me, hung them out to dry, and I felt great about myself. Um, And then I thought, well, what do I do now? And of course, I looked at my laptop and thought, oh, let's go get something to drink. No! I was like, no. I have just put in like 4 hours of effort and exercise that I can undo all of that with like just drinking all night and playing video games. And then what? I'm back to where I was tomorrow morning. And then I allowed that feeling of disgust to wash over me. And I thought, oh my God, I'm not going back there. So what did I do? I knew that if I just sat in that room and like, I don't know, sat on my phone or something, I probably would just go back to it. So I thought, okay, I need to distract myself. So what I did was I went and bought a bottle of Coke, I think it was, and I got a big mug of ice. And I just sat down and I just played my game, but I thought far better substitute. So I had some Coke because I was sort of, a lot of it was the habit of just like playing and then drinking something and playing and drinking something. And I actually found it was enough. Like I felt satisfied just having a sip of Coca-Cola, with ice. And then I played, but then I realized this. If I just keep playing and go to bed late, I'm going to wake up late tomorrow, and then the cycle may continue again. So I realized, yes, you can do this now, but your tomorrow is starting today. If you go to bed tomorrow in a good state and wake up fresh tomorrow, not only physically will you feel better about yourself, but emotionally and mentally you're going to feel better about yourself because you feel like you've already took a step in the right direction. And so I made sure I went to bed early that day. I woke up fresh, and before I went to bed, this is what I did. I actually pulled out my book, this one, and I wrote down the date, like this kind of deal. The date, the day, the goals, and what time I'm going to achieve them by. And I went to bed thinking about that. And when I woke up the next morning, I remember I had my book right next to my bed, open, so I couldn't skip past it. And I saw it, and I saw the first thing I needed to do. And I was like, right, let's get started on this. I started that day, and that's quite a while ago now. And I tell you, I've never looked back. So just in summary of this video, of that very deep, dark hole I got myself into, I'm going to cover the lessons that I learned based on real life experience, and the best of it will learn. First thing was, allow yourself to feel negative emotions. For example, disgust. It's extremely motivating when you really sit there and feel like disgust or regret or fear of something, because that is motivating pain. Like if you don't believe it, light a fire under your ass and see if you'll move. If it's painful enough, you'll move. Allow yourself. Sometimes I feel like in society, we put so much emphasis on feeling positive emotions. Negative emotions can be extremely motivating if you allow yourself to feel. I was disgusted with myself and said, that's it, I'm making a change. The depth of this is what I learned. The depth of your pain can transform to the strength of your new commitment. Let me say that again. The depth of your pain can transform to the strength of your new commitment. I was so disgusted by how I was living that when I thought about going back to it, I said, absolutely not. It had transformed to my new commitment. The second thing was, start small where you are with what you have. I didn't need to go to some guru or read some book or listen to some podcast. You know what I did? I washed those fucking glasses. I washed them, they were cleaned, and I looked at the sink and was like, well, the glasses are clean, the sink's dirty. Clean the sink. Then I cleaned my desk. Then I cleaned my laptop. Then I put away the rubbish. Then I made the bed, and all of a sudden, the room's clear. I was like, well, what else can I do? Start small with what you have, because what you have is plenty. The next thing is, don't stop. Keep moving. It's that thing called momentum. I remember once I gave a speech and I quoted like a locomotive, that if you take a locomotive at standstill and you put a metal rod the same thickness of your thumb in front of the wheels, the locomotive goes nowhere. But if it builds momentum, enough momentum, you can build a concrete steel reinforced wall. The locomotive will smash it and continue through like the wall wasn't even there. Same train. What's the difference? Purely momentum. So once you start it, once you start cleaning the glass, keep it going. Do the sink, do the room, make the bed. Then when you stop, go right, shower, brush my teeth, come out, moisturizer, vitamin pills. Now what do I want to do? I want to go to the gym, right? Go to kickboxing. Now I want to do some conditioning. Now I'm going to go for a run. Now I'm going to come home. Now what? I'm going to think about tomorrow. I'm going to write some goals. Keep the momentum going. Don't stop. Don't put the weight down. It gets harder. The next thing is, once you've kept that momentum going, notice in that story, the next thing I did was I wrote my tomorrow out. I had to give myself something to look forward to keep me, not just the pain of the past, but something desirable in the future, the old carrot and stick analogy. So give yourself something to look forward to and connect it with your highest value. See, for me, growth was important. So when I wrote those goals, I knew I would be growing, I'd be getting better, which made it more motivating. So don't just give yourself just something that motivates you. Tie it with values that are of your highest priority. Maybe your highest priority is love and connection. Maybe your highest priority value is significance or variety, whatever it is. Tie it with a value that is exciting for you. The next thing I did was make a plan. Do you remember how I got into this dark hole? I had good intentions but no plan. And so I traveled overseas, went for a holiday, and then one day I was a little bit bored, played my video game, played a little bit more, got a bit bored, played a bit of a drink, and then it just escalated to that's my whole life. And I was like, how the hell did I get in here? How did I get in here? A little bit at a time, because I had no plan. Good intentions with no plan. So make a plan. When I wrote that thing for motivating, I had the dates tomorrow, how it would start in sequential. I'm going to wake up, I'm going to hydrate, I'm going to do this, I'm going to shower, and I just went down sequentially. I had this plan. I went to bed that night actually thinking about it, which motivated me. So make a plan. And a plan is no good if it doesn't have dates and times. It's got to have it, otherwise it's just a wish list. All right, so say what you're going to do, and have a time and date you're going to do it. And another thing I learned was substitute my behavior. See, I was drinking, alcohol in my cup. So what did I say? I said, I'm going to drink Coca-Cola instead and substitute, because you don't want to create a vacuum. That's what I learned. Don't just stop bad behavior, because then you're jittery because you've got nothing to do, because you're used to being busy doing something. Substitute it for something less. And someone might say, oh, you're just using it as a distraction. Yes, I am. I've got no problem with using something as a distraction if it's better than the first thing. If drinking alcohol was what I was doing, surely if I'm drinking whiskey or whatever, I don't even know what I was drinking, whiskey and Coke or rum and Coke, maybe I think it was rum and Coke, better I drink Coke, right? Right? So yes, I substituted, and then you can just bring it down until one day, I don't know, you're drinking a smoothie instead. Great. But if you're saying, is it better? Yes, substitute. Distract yourself. Distract yourself with whatever you need to break that habit. And the final thing I'll say before I close off is, tomorrow starts today. There is no such thing as tomorrow. And I'm not wise enough or guru-y enough to have any spiritual meaning by that. I'm not saying there is no such thing as tomorrow, it's only an eternal present. No, fuck that. I'm just saying, although that could be true, I'm just saying that the success of my tomorrow begins today. If I had on that day, if I had just stayed up with all the good intentions and all the plan and all the dates, if I had gone to bed at an unreasonable hour and then slept half the day away and woken up, I would have started the day totally unmotivated. Completely unmotivated, and I wouldn't even want to start the journey. And I maybe just felt so bad, fuck it, it's not worth it. Let's just go back to the old plan. I'll just go buy something to drink, sit here and feel sorry for myself, or some shit like that. Tomorrow starts today. I learned, yes, I needed to write out the plan of today. I needed to have dates, but I needed to go to bed at a good time. So I already felt good about how tomorrow was going to start, and I gave myself every chance of success. Anyway, that's really all I wanted to say, and now I've said it. So bless you all, and go get it.